and introduce you to Kathie Bender and Samira Qureshi, who belong to the Sisterhood of Salaam Shalom. And this is an amazing group that's making friends all over the country and introducing wonderful ways to get along better. So going to go ahead and introduce you. Kathie, go ahead and start.
Sounds good. Thank you. I know we've said it a few times, but it's just such an honor to be here to talk with you tonight. And, everybody's just been so helpful. Jan and Beth, Merle and Elena and Melissa and Bev, thank you so very much for the work that we've done to get to this point. I do want to share that I was part of the Tri-County NCJW chapter with Jill Lexier many, many years ago. And I had also the honor of receiving the Hannah Solomon Award from that chapter. And so I don't take that lightly. That was just a huge honor for me to have been nominated and selected for that by the wonderful women of my chapter. Yes, it was a long time ago. I think it was 2010 or 2011. So it's been a long time, but Hannah is still on my piano right now. So, and so I do, even as the regional coordinator with Samira, with SOSS, with Sisterhood of Salaam Shalom, I am constantly looking to NCJW for advocacy and other educational opportunities. So I'm just really grateful to NCJW for everything that you all do.
And as an introduction to the Sisterhood of Salaam Shalom, although I do see a couple of our sisters here, and so you too will know as well, that we begin each of our meetings with our respective prayers.
So I'd like to ask you right now, look around, acknowledge each other with gratitude, and to recognize the significance of this moment of us coming together. And if you would, please join me in the Shehekianu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Shehekianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh.
Amen. Amen. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of all, who has kept us alive, sustained us, and brought us to this season. And I'll start with the prayer that every Muslim scholar or imam or sheikh or any religious leader starts their sermons or presentations with. It's actually the prayer of Moses, or Prophet Musa, as he's called in Arabic. And just to lead it up, so in the Quran, in our holy book, we are told that as Moses was traveling from Midian with his wife and his son, he saw the fire from afar. And just as it is in Jewish tradition, he goes there, he's asked to remove his shoes and bow down in front of his Lord. He's shown the miracle of his hand turning white, the staff turning into a serpent. And then he's told to go to Pharaoh to spread the news of one God and to let the Hebrew people free. And at that point, Musa says a prayer, and this is a prayer we all say, and I'm going to say it too, which is Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli.
My Lord, expand for me my breast with confidence. Ease for me my task, and untie the knot from tongue, that they may understand my speech. I'm going to jump into sharing my screen now.
Oh, we forgot to do that.
This was appropriate. This all works. As many of you know, our communities share a very long relationship. As minorities, our religious communities face very similar challenges. The Sisterhood of Salaam Shalom brings together Muslim and Jewish women who share so many practices and beliefs, and allows us to work together, and we put an end to anti-Muslim and anti-Jewish sentiment.
So in the Sisterhood of Salaam Shalom, and there's Kathie Bromberg in that picture, our relationships are nourished over time, tea, food, and storytelling. And as we share our food and our stories, we stop seeing each other as only Jewish or Muslim. We begin to see ourselves in each other's stories about being daughters, sisters, mothers, wives, friends, stories of being Muslim or Jewish. We build our relationships on respect, truth, and compassion, relationships built upon sisterhood.
So why sisterhood? It is very easy to hate someone that you just do not know. It's pretty hard to hate someone that you do know.
And of course, it's absolutely impossible to hate someone that you care about.
So the Sisterhood of Salaam Shalom, our mission, our vision, let's start with our vision. As Jewish and Muslim women, we learn how to be comfortable in the uncomfortable at times. We build bridges within our communities and we become better allies to each other. This picture here are the original founders of the Sisterhood of Salaam Shalom, Cheryl Elitsky and Atia Aftab. And our vision, as Jewish and Muslim women, we come together. I've already said that. The mission of our sisterhood is to build trust, respect, and relationships between Muslim and Jewish women. Sisters commit to stand up for one another when hate is aimed at our communities, and we engage in social action work that has impact in our own communities.
So the Jewish and Muslim relationship is more than just the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. And as I hope you saw from the beginning of my prayer, that our beliefs, our stories, and our traditions share so much in common. So here's some of our common beliefs and practices.
Such as monotheism, we all believe in just one single God. We share similar prophets and their stories, like Samira said, Moses or Musa, Noah. There's just so many.
We have a reverence of the prophet Abraham, or Ibrahim in Arabic. Muslims pray 5 times a day. And part of that prayer, at least twice in one cycle of that prayer, we actually give our blessings to Abraham and his family.
We're both Semitic religions and languages. It's amazing how close some of our terms and our words are. One of the big ones that our values of NCJW and the Sisterhood of Salaam Shalom are tzedakah or tzedakah. Neither of our religions find that Jesus is the Son of God, but Muslims do revere him as a prophet. And I did want to point out that Mary or Maryam is named in the Quran more times than any other woman, right? Is that
yeah.
Muslims and Jews also recognize Jerusalem as a holy city.
Yeah. In fact, actually, we have similar acts of faith. And the first one I'm going to say is prayers, which I think every faith has a concept of prayers in it. But for us, I know in the beginning of Islam, for those of you who don't know, right now, every Muslim in the world, when we're praying, we lie our prayer mat in the direction of Makkah, or the black cube that you see sometimes in Saudi Arabia. And that's, we call that the house of God. We pray towards that. Before that was instituted, before we were told to pray in that direction, early Muslims used to pray towards the direction of Jerusalem and the Holy Wall. So we pray. Most of our faiths have a concept of head covering. Both of our faiths have a concept of circumcision at birth. We both have dietary restrictions. Muslims also do not eat pork, and we do also have a certain way of slaughtering meat. I know there's kosher. We have something called zabiha. Fasting, we fast. We have the fasting month of Ramadan. Our fasts are a little different, but the same concept. We don't eat or drink. We have a concept of pilgrimage. Charity, as Kathie just said, I know it's tzedakah. In Judaism and Islam, we say sadaqah. Justice is very important for both of us. And the life cycle events. And I know Merle was talking about this before, right? How we bury our funeral, when someone gets birth, weddings, different things that we do throughout our life. We have a lot of things that are very similar.
Really excited to share. So uniting together gives us a stronger voice. This picture, I was really happy to have this and to run into people from NCJW. This was from the Women's March in January. The Chicago region pulled together a Shabbat vigil to say no to hate. And we recited the traditional Shabbat prayers, and we interspersed it with some Quran verses. We know that we're stronger together. We know that if there's an attack on one of us, it's an attack on all of us. We know that we're safe only if our neighbors are safe.
So relationship building is needed now more than ever. And I think none of us can deny what's happening in our country right now, and quite honestly in the world. anti-Muslim and anti-Jewish sentiments are growing. Minimal investment has gone into Muslim-Jewish related adult programming because we find most emphasis and finances are going towards Christian-Jewish or Christian-Muslim or youth relationships. There are huge benefits of faith-based engagement efforts. Muslim and Jewish women of faith share unique challenges that other faith groups do not experience. One of them, as a parent, we're talking about Zoom. Obviously, that's something that everyone shares right now. But even as, Christmas is coming up. And if you're a Muslim parent or a Jewish parent, it's hard to sit there and talk to your kids about Santa. And individual transformation and resolution of conflict is only possible, like Kathie said before, when mutual trust and respect is nurtured through the building of positive relationships.
One of our chapter topics was the December dilemma, because we all experience it. So the Sisterhood of Salaam Shalom started out in a New Jersey living room in 2010, and since has grown to 170 chapters across America, into Canada, and we opened our first chapter in Berlin, Germany just this year. So we are now an international organization. To kind of brag on our Chicago region, we have 10 chapters here in Chicago, all across in the northern suburbs, in the western suburbs, in the northwestern suburbs, and in the city as well. So we have about 200 women who are chapter members, and we have 400 other women who are community members. We hold public and chapter events. So those 400 community members join us at the community events, but our chapters regularly meet, every 6 to 8 weeks, and not everybody can commit to doing that. And our commitment is to build friendships and relationships and take us those further steps.
So I love this slide because this looks so professional. 6 pillars of engagement. Let's really break it down. How do we engage? Because Kathie talked about chapters, but I'm going to go off the left side of this little circle, starting with social justice and action. So social justice actions range from attending protests, writing letters to officials, sending cards of support to victims of hate acts, or just doing charity work. And so our the chapters tend to decide how they want to do and what they want to do. And I know just last year, there was a lady in Milwaukee who had a hate act against her. I guess she got a dollar bill that said, go away or go back to your country or no Muslims allowed. And the amount of support, a lot of her neighbors who are not part of Sisterhood, but we also did it, wrote cards to them saying that we love you, we see you, we welcome you, you're this country, you're American, and it's meant a lot to her and her family. Social media, we engage through social media. We have 2 Facebook pages that I know that are in the chat and that I think Kathie put in there. And in that Facebook page, we share about each other's chapter's social justice events and charity drives that we do, but we also encourage our members to post articles about interfaith news around the world. In fact, just this week, a member had posted a video from a Jewish vlogger about his travels in the Muslim world. And then the last thing down there in that slide, workshops and training. We hold many workshops and trainings throughout the year within the Midwest region, which is not only Illinois, it's also Minnesota and Kentucky and Indiana and all those other Midwest states. In fact, the Chicago region is very proud to have received grants from the Jewish Women Foundation to hold annual trainings like having difficult conversations. That's the title of it. The other training we had was upstand training as opposed to bystander training. And this year is very, I really love this one, combating anti-Blackness within ourselves and within our communities.
And I've already mentioned chapters. So of course, being a chapter member is one way to engage within the Sisterhood of Salaam Shalom. The next one is our leadership conference. Our 7th annual conference was held yesterday. So Samira and I and any other sister on here. We're still flying. It was just a really beautiful event. It was held virtually. Unfortunately, we missed all the hugs. We missed, being together, but we just had a spectacular day. We had several really fantastic keynote speakers and breakout sessions where we learned from Ibu Patel. Many of you know Ibu because he's from the Chicago area of the Interfaith Youth Corps, and Combatants for Peace was there. And Dr. Todd Allen, who led us through, actually, this will lead me right into our next one. We also do peace mission trips. Allen led our group of women through a South civil rights tour. And we've done that. The group has gone to Berlin and Poland. The group has gone to Arizona, to the border, to put water and to learn about asylum and immigration and being a refugee. And I think there was one other, that's it. So those are many of the ways that you can engage with the sisterhood. So evaluating our success. This is one thing we want to see. Are we making a difference? So a survey was sent out just this last summer, and we found that almost 2/3 of all women are committed to protecting the stranger and speaking out against hate. And what that means is not only me as a Jew speaking out against any anti-Muslim actions, but any hate. We're more willing to speak up and for other people. And what we found is that Jewish women tell 33 others and Muslim women tell 59 others about the sisterhood and how it's important to develop relationships between Muslims and Jews. And someone did the math for us of all of our members that reaches way over 300,000 people. And so hopefully that then continues on from there.
So we gave you a lot of information. I think we don't do that slide yet.
Yep.
Here. And so what does that actually mean? How does the sisterhood really actually work? So we are going to do this. You are about to be separated into breakout rooms, and please be patient with us while we try doing this, because we're going to try to do this. It'll work. In this breakout room, you will be encouraged to identify and explore your personal stereotypes and those of the community around you and the impact they have on others. We will identify action or words we can use to counter these stereotypes and their hurtful impacts. And don't worry, we are going to give you the specific questions once you guys are in the, Kathie's going to read it to you right now. And once you're in there, it'll be broadcasted to you again. So no worries.
Right. So you're going to, you're going to pretend like this is a chapter meeting. So if you would, introduce yourself to everybody if you don't know each other. I know many of you do know each other, but if you don't, if you would say your names and make sure that we're respectful here of time. We're going to have 20 minutes. So I know it might feel like a long time, but we're hopeful that you can really think about this question and then this following question that we will broadcast to you after you're in the chat room. So after the introductions, what we'd like to ask you to do, and this is challenging, please brainstorm any anti-Arab or anti-Muslim words, spoken or implied, and actions that you have heard from your family, from movies, from news, from work, from your own community. Everyone in your group first, if you would, take a few minutes and write them down. And then take time together for the first 10 minutes after everyone has written a few items down to read them out loud. And we'd like for you to see if there's any commonalities or any words or actions that are most prevalent. And then after about 10 minutes, another question will be broadcast. So if somebody would pay attention to the top of your screen as you are in your breakout rooms. That will be your second question. And then we're going to come together and we'll share. So again, you'll be out there for about 20 minutes. And so the first 10 minutes, anti-Arab or anti-Muslim words or actions or stereotypes that you have heard. Enjoy your breakout rooms.
Thank you.
Welcome back, everyone.
You know, it's a learning
It was
experience for all of
wonderful,
us.
Kathie. Thank you.
Yeah, we're still all learning on the different instructions. I was saying many of you are really, really good instruction followers because you saw the button that said leave this breakout room, right? You were
We
following.
wanted to be together for the last second. It was so
Good. I've learned that too.
Yeah,
If you're in the middle of a good conversation, just stay in the room. You get kicked out eventually. So
Well, it was right across the screen in the middle, so it was hard to miss it.
right. And it's like red too, isn't it?
So now that we're all back together, don't leave. We have
Right.
something going on here. We are going to process. So we did these discussions. I know some of you didn't get the second question. It was too fast. That's fine. We are still going to process how we feel for a moment. So to do this with the most impact, we are asking that we create 2 Zoom chat waterfalls. We're going to have one hate waterfall and one hope waterfall.
So if you would click on the chat button at the bottom of your screen, if you're on a regular computer, just find your chat and open up your chat. And what I'd like for everyone to do not hit enter. I want you to type one of the anti-Muslim or anti-Arab words or stereotypes that came to you or that you heard in your group. Don't hit enter yet. Just go ahead and take 30 seconds to type in something here.
Do you want every group participant to type something?
Everybody type something for yourself, right?
Okay.
But don't hit send.
Do not hit send yet.
Okay.
Just type it, please.
Just one.
Just one, please. That's enough.
This will be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, what
So
you're doing.
on the
Okay.
count of, is everybody kind of ready? On the count of 3, we're going to hit send. 1, 2, 3. Go ahead. Terrorist, radical, foreigner, raghead, women are second-class citizens and men dominate. Radical Islamic terrorists. Yep. I'm missing.
Now, and exactly, there are a lot.
Convert everybody.
Yeah.
So let's, yeah, so those of you who missed the second question, we apologize, but what we'd like for you to do now is, oh, sorry, Samira, that's all.
It's okay. We're gonna that's fine. You can say it too. That was a hate waterfall. Those words are pretty hard to read.
I know.
We're going
Hard
to
to say.
It's hard to say. Now we're going to create our hope waterfall. So I know some of you weren't able to do this, so you can still do this right now. Type in a word or a phrase that you can use to respond. So if someone had said that to your partner, to your daughter, to your wife, to your friend, to your niece, granddaughter, someone that you truly love, said something like that to them, you can exchange the Islamic to Jewish terrorists, whatever you want to, and how you would feel, but not how you would feel, but more like, what would you say? What would you do to respond? And do not hit enter, type it in. And we're going to create a hope waterfall. Ready? When on the count of 3, hit enter. 1, 2, 3.
Idiot. Like that one, that was the first one I saw.
What?
To be idiot was the first one I saw.
It was the cat. It was the cat who did that one.
Our society values women no matter how they're dressed. Do you mean to be anti-Muslim? Because that's how I heard it. Did you mean to never hate? You are wrong to judge. This is my friend.
Nice.
From other cultures.
Not appropriate to generalize. You're so wrong to judge. Open heart, love. That's very hateful and offensive. These are great.
Acts. Yeah, beautiful. Really, really beautiful. So within our chapters in the Sisterhood of Salaam Shalom, we say to each other, every one of you is enough for hope to exist. Each of you represent the hope for a brighter, more peaceful future. And it's up to you to practice empathy daily. That turns into you and you and you spreading more and more. And soon it's a revolution of us.
And so we thank you so much for the opportunity to talk about the benefits of Jewish and Muslim solidarity. We hope we have helped you see some of our shared commonalities and why it's so important to connect and speak up for each other to combat Islamophobia and anti-Semitism. Thank you. And that Hope Waterfall really, as a Muslim, that just felt really good to hear. Thank you.
So we have our,
Thank you.
if you would like to reach us, SOSSchicago@gmail, that's our Gmail address that Samira and I share. Feel free if you're interested in joining a chapter. All we need from you is your name, your phone number, your faith, and your zip code so that we can put you in a chapter that is closest.
Can you remain on for a few minutes?
Oh, yeah, we have
sure
plenty of time
can.
for questions.
Yes,
Can
absolutely.
you put the email in the chat?
Absolutely.
It's on the screen. Oh, was it?
I'll put it here. It's
Are you
easier,
doing
I
it?
think it's easier to copy.
Are you doing it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And what does it involve to belong to a chapter? It's meetings to know each other. It's some kind of a I don't know, participation in events. What is it?
We meet at each other's homes every 4 to 6 weeks, sometimes 8 weeks. And we usually either we have a topic to talk about, or I know, is Kathie still on? Like her chapter, they did like a jigsaw puzzle. Anything, you basically, you're creating a relationship. So like we said, food, tea, and conversation, just like we all do.
How are you doing
Right.
managing during COVID?
Zoom.
Right here.
Zoom. My chapter did do a socially distanced get together in one of the women's backyards. She set up chairs that were like 6 to 8 feet apart, and she had some tea and water. She gave us each a bottle of water that had been wiped down, so and we were all wearing masks except when we were eating and drinking.
And my chapter met at the Barrington Arboretum, and we each picnic table. So we were, and our kids were there. So the kids were on the playground, and we each had a different picnic table. So that was just heaven to all be together and see each other. I think we stayed there 3 hours just catching up. We had each other so much being together. But some chapters, my chapter for many times, we had scholars who love to we would bring up a topic, tell us about sin in the Torah and in the Quran. We talked about, tzedakah. We talked about, it was during Passover. And so, of course, we tell the stories of Moses or Musa, and it's interesting to see the similarities, even Adam and Eve. The stories are really interesting to hear the similarities, yet the differences too. And why? Because tzedakah and tzedakah are slightly different. And it's interesting to see what the differences are, but they have the same base, the same foundation.
Can you talk about how they're different? This is fascinating.
Absolutely.
How are they different?
These are really good questions.
Yeah, they are.
What we found in our chapter is that in the Jewish culture and tradition of tzedakah, we focus a lot on education, on supporting other, not only just within our community. And Samira, please definitely step in. There's a lot of focus on education and making those donations to support people being educated, not only helping the poor and helping, tzedakah is really expansive, and I'm certainly not saying that tzedakah is not. It's much more focused, I think. And Samira, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, well, so sadaqah is charity, which can be, it can actually even be a smile. Smile is a charity, our prophet said, because it spreads joy. So our financial contributions to education and to other Muslims is actually a requirement in Islam, which is called zakat, which is 2.5% of your annual savings. But sadaqah is something that you give anytime throughout the year to whoever you wish to. And it could be something as, like I just said, a smile is considered an act of charity because it gives joy. Or it could be anything as big as whatever money or time, or it's very expansive.
So it's spreading goodness. It's really very similar.
It is. It's so similar. Absolutely.
Any
Other questions in the chat? I just want to grab.
Yeah.
Okay, the first one was, will you each, Kathie and Samira, share the worst insult aimed at you?
Do you want to start?
Yeah, I actually used to wear, I started wearing a headscarf or a hijab when I was 18 years old, and I wore it for 10 years. I took it off after 9/11 because I had younger children at the time, and people are saying things to them. So when people said things to me, it didn't bother me because I was like, whatever, but I was scared for my children. And I lived in Montreal, Quebec, and Quebec is very influenced by France. So France had banned the hijab at the time. This is 1990. So the worst insult that was aimed at me was actually raghead, which was one of the things that I saw in the hate waterfall.
Samira,
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Go on, Elena.
Am I mistaken? The prayer that you guys say like 5 times a day, isn't it very similar to our Shema? Like the first words of the Shema are, listen God, our God, listen Israel, God Adonai is our God,
right.
Adonai is one.
Yeah.
So
The Lord is our God, the Lord is one.
what?
It's the Lord is our God, the Lord is one.
Yeah.
O
So,
Israel, the
thank
one.
you. So what is that prayer that you say 5 times a day? Isn't that very similar?
So our prayer 5 times a day is one that involves standing and prostrating and bowing. And I go like this because this is supposed to be my waist. This is supposed to be my, I don't know why. So this is so bowing and prostrating, where we go and we up her forehead to the ground. And it has different verses of the Quran. One that's always there is the opening verse of the Quran, which means God, to God, the most merciful, the most compassionate.
Oh.
To you alone do we worship. You alone we worship. You alone do we obey. Remember the English translation. I apologize. But yeah, so we do that. And we do that 4 times in one prayer. And we do that 5 times a day.
Okay.
Yeah. So in a way, it's similar. They're not the same words, but it's very similar.
Same idea. Yeah. Yeah.
Very similar. You're right.
Kathy
Affirmation of
Carmody
oneness
asked,
of God, basically.
yeah, they're both lovely, you know,
Right.
which is one things to appreciate. So Kathy Carmody asked, what's the difference between kosher and halal? Yeah, I'm sure this is a question you get frequently.
Yeah, it's actually quite similar. And what's interesting is I can answer it as I can from osmosis because my husband is a chef. He was the one who founded Schmaltz Deli in Naperville, if you've ever been to the Western Sub. And he actually, he's a food innovator as well and created a beef bacon product. And what's interesting is he took the route of halal before he took the route of kosher. So the slaughter steps are very, very similar. And there's not that, you know, again, it's totally osmosis. So it's so incredibly similar. It really, really is. The same slaughter steps, the same kind of, I think the only difference is it's not from the start, but I'm going to have to look that one up.
I think there's a compassion element though. To kosher and halal, there's a compassion element though to the animal that's slaughtered.
Yeah.
Right.
I think also what I've learned, and actually in Shabbat Shalom is what I was in Salam Shalom is what I heard. What I learned is also in kosher, the meats don't mix with the. Is it chicken or beef or cheese or dairy or? We don't have that.
Right.
Meat and milk.
Yes,
And meat-
in kosher, there's no meat and milk.
It's
Yes.
for us, for us, halal really means that there is no pig, there's no
Right.
pepperoni, there's nothing like that, not even fat, and and that's halal and no alcohol. And then there's something called zabiha, which is that the meat, the goat or the meat or the cow or the chicken, whatever you're eating, is slaughtered with God's name. Like you said, with compassion and a thanking and an appreciating of what the animal has done and how we appreciate that. So, and then you can be halal and not be zabiha, like, because people who are zabiha don't eat McDonald's or Burger King or those things. They only eat, like they say, like the kosher, like a zabiha restaurant where they actually do it. So I hope that's not confusing.
Yeah, and Kathie just commented, kosher, is halal, but not vice versa. So yes,
that's right.
Muslim families or Muslim people will buy kosher if they can't get halal, but the other way around doesn't always work.
I have a fun story for that.
Too.
Sorry, can I just one story? The thing is that when my father immigrated to the States in 1967 in Utah, he was doing his second master's at BYU, which was good because he didn't drink alcohol. But when he got there, very few Muslims, so he would actually go to a kosher store, kosher butcher to get his meat before. So.
And the other difference too is that Muslims will eat shellfish.
Oh yeah.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
We eat seafood and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yes.
So I just want to say it was almost 20 years ago that we were in Morocco. And at that time, there were there might have been 10,000 Jews in the whole country. And now it's many fewer.
Mm-hmm.
But there were 50 kosher butchers. We don't have 50 kosher butchers in the Chicago area.
That's true.
With 250,000 Jews
Right.
or something.
Right.
And that this was because, as you pointed out, the level of trust for the manner of slaughter with respect to the animal, etc.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
And you're right. You're right, Kathie. I should have said that we don't eat animals that eat other animals. Like no shark.
That's the basis as to why people who keep kosher don't eat meat and milk. That's the same kind of concept where it's like eating the cow and then the milk.
Right.
It was a similar concept.
Interesting.
Guess how I was raised.
There's a line in the Torah that says you should not cook the meat of the child in the mother's milk.
Yeah.
That's
And
right.
it has nothing to do with mixing milk and meat. It seems to be a sensitivity to that the mother shouldn't see her child cooked.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So I think it's out of compassion for the child, and somehow those who the powers that be, we can't have a cheeseburger.
Yeah, or we're not allowed to slaughter either in front of other animals. Like you can't slaughter one animal in front of the other animal.
Yeah. Right.
Very interesting.
Probably why I'm a vegetarian. So
there you go. Now, Maria, I don't know if you're still here, but you had a question about, are there more Jewish or Muslim women in the group? It appears there's many more Jewish women, and I don't know if you're speaking to this specific gathering, but we can definitely speak to the balance of Muslims and Jews in the chapters, where we do try to balance out as evenly as possible. We all know many Jews are in the northern and there's a lot of Muslims in the western suburbs. So our western suburban chapters and our northwest suburban chapters have more Muslims, and the Jewish women are harder to find. And then the kind of the opposite in the northern suburbs, where there's more Jews, and finding the Muslims to join the chapters are a little challenging.
And I think there's also an imbalance in terms of age groups, where we feel that the age groups are different, so they're more, because of the nature of immigration, and our mothers who are in their 60s and 70s are not comfortable speaking English. The Muslims who are joining the Sisterhood are the ones who have the little kids who are working full time. So a lot of times they can't meet, they can't come to all these meetings because they're just inundated with things to do. So then you'll see that imbalance too, where there'll be more Jewish ladies who will be able to join. And even like Kathie saw my 8-year-old coming in the middle of mine, right? Like it's just always there.
My 25-year-old was just here too, so.
Well, and interestingly, with my chapter, we have a full range of, my chapter is about half and half Muslim and Jewish. I'm the old lady in the group. No, there's one woman who's older than I am. But when it comes to the Muslim women, most of them, their kids are college age.
Oh.
They might have a couple of, there's one who has younger kids. But most of them, their kids are either high school age, maybe junior high school age, in college or older.
Yeah.
Kathie, where is your chapter?
We're far north suburban, so we're all in Lake County.
Okay.
And all of the Muslim women belong to one mosque, and all but one of the Jewish women in my chapter belong to my synagogue.
Okay.
What synagogue is that?
Or Shalom.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. And of course, this group is the National Council of Jewish Women, so we're
Right.
most of our members are Jewish, so that's why we wanted to get started here. So
Yes.
I just want to say this was delightful, and I'm so glad that all of you were able to give your time and
yeah.
willing to come, because it was delightful.
Well, we
Thank you for
appreciate
coming.
you. Like I said at the very beginning, I look to NCJW for so much, and I'm so grateful.
We're thrilled. We're
Hi,
thrilled.
I've been a member for 50 years, so.
Kathie, do you have a hurtful word that landed on you?
Well, for me, the most hurtful was that I should go back to my country, Israel.
Okay.
Mhm.
And how recent was that?
That was about a year ago.
Wow.
Wow.
Mhm.
Ooh,
Mm.
ow.
No, that right.
What prompted it?
It was politics. If I don't like
Oh, and you live in the western suburbs.
back.
Double ow.
Yeah.
But the
Mhm.
politics have definitively impacted the plethora of the hurtful words in the last 4 years. I was volunteering at the Field Museum, and which is an extraordinary liberal place, of course. Nevertheless, from the same group of people who were there for years, since the administration which is going to leave was in power and spewing all the hatred, I was told that I should improve my accent, which wasn't very nice. And I heard it when I was working. I wasn't expecting at the Field Museum. It's
Mhm.
unfortunately.
Most unfortunate.
When I've had discussions with people about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, I've been called a self-hating Jew.
Right. Yes.
Have any of you heard that one before?
Yep.
It's so charged just between Jews on.
Oh, it's by Jewish people saying that.
I know
Yes.
I've never heard a Muslim person call me a self-hating Jew. It only is.
But I just got a lot out of tonight. I really thank you
Yeah.
for the process you took us through. It was really terrific.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
I agree.
Yes.
Thank you.
It's a special organization, and I can't even
Oh my gosh.
about it. Just
Obvious.
to
It's
have
so
Samira as one of my
Yeah.
best friends. It's been so amazing to
And
get
I
to know
hope-
her and her
I hope we
family.
do a lot of things together in the future.
We
Yeah.
definitely will.
Let me
I
mention
have a
Barb.
question. Is there a
Yes.
possibility, do you do any programming outreach? Like our sisterhood has a schmooze on Wednesday afternoons, and it would be wonderful to hear you speak, or do you do anything like that?
We don't have anything scheduled currently. Again, for the first 10 years, we started out as literally chapters to make those one-on-one connections directly. And we're just now expanding to the community and making it a much bigger thing. We would have, we did like a big potluck kind of get together where Cheryl Olitsky actually came in from New Jersey to Chicago a couple of years ago. We had 118 women there.
Wow.
We say 118 because we know how special 18 is in. And it was just a spectacular event. We held it in a church social hall, and we had the Salaam Shalom Music Project, which is not affiliated with the Sisterhood of Salaam Shalom, but it's a beautiful group of women and men. It's not just women, of multiple cultures that play all different types of music. And if you can follow them, they are mostly in the northern suburbs. Just beautiful. So many of them came and sang for us, and just really, really a beautiful event to come together. And we're trying to expand on that a little bit.
Well, may I
We
ask-
have two questions. I'm so sorry. We have two questions on the chat, and I just thought it'd be easier to just respond to them in person by speaking. One is that if anyone's for the North Suburban chapter for new members, we're always open for new members to join. And if you guys are interested in joining, I think Kathie put it up there in the chat as well. SOSS Chicago@gmail.com with your email, phone, and zip code. And if you're interested, and we can place you in a chapter. And right now we're meeting on Zoom. And I think the other question we have is books on Islam or on the Muslim religion. There are a lot of books. I have always told people the best way to really understand Islam is to understand the Prophet. If you can pick up a biography of the Prophet Muhammad, Martin Lings has a really good one. It just really explains our relationship, how we revere him as a prophet, as a man, our respect for him. And he really, his life really shows you see the evolution of the religion. So if that's something you're interested in, that's what I would recommend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For a great evening.
As a summary, yeah, this is wonderful. I'm going to save the chat. Judith Maisel and somebody else mentioned some poetry. If in the next day or so you can send me some references, I'll include those in the summary that I will send to everyone. And next month, excuse me for putting a little plug in for our next month's program. It falls on the winter solstice. So Howard Lerner from the ELPG, Environmental Law and Policy Committee, is going to be speaking. And that sounds like a horrible mouthful and very boring. He is equally dynamic as you ladies, and will give us tons of background on what's going on in climate change. We might even know a little bit more by then, but it'll be a very terrific program. Samira and Kathie, this is just wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us. So good to see all of you.
Thank you so much for having us and listening. Thank you.
I'll be sending out a summary to all you all.
It was delightful.
Thank you.
It's wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Yes.
Stay safe.
Grateful.
Stay safe. Yeah.
No
Thanks again.
SOSS dues. What does it cost to be a member?
The dues are voluntary.
Okay.
Looking for some help in helping us get the conferences going, and also our accounting and all the stuff of keeping the business up. So all dues are voluntary.
Okay. Great.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
Yes.
Stay warm, stay healthy, please.
Yes.
Thank you very much for the way how you conducted the group.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's just terrific.
Elise, thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Much.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
I'm trying to get all the messages. so
Say,
we get
Judith,
them
send
all.
me a message from Palatine. Good.
Oh,
Also,
great.
I put my book on the name in the chat room. I think it
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I
Maybe
also
I
might
can
reach
record
out to you,
it.
Elise. That sounds really interesting.
Pearl.
Thank you. Yeah.
Is it a children's book?
For having this event.
Yeah, it
At
says
least
it's a children's book, and we
Oh, I can't.
Muslim struggle on the current genocide.
Oh
That's-
yeah, actually,
Yes.
Eilis is my friend's name. I just logged in with her. The link that she sent it to me.
Oh, funny.
Okay. Yeah, my name is Buzura, but sorry, it still shows Eilis somehow
That's all right.
on my phone.
But you gave us your pen name, so that's great.
Thank
Yeah,
you for
Leila,
I
Yor,
will.
and I
That
can,
sounds
yeah. Maybe I will share once the book is published. Maybe I could send it to the chapter, the email that you had.
Yeah. There'll be
Yeah.
so many of our, we have a lot of sister members who have children. And I think
Yes,
that'd be great.
definitely.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes,
Sure.
definitely.
Thank you.
I hear a little one. Marlis, hugs to you and Gil.
Oh. Nice to see
Oh,
you, Kathy,
sweet.
really.
She climbed up here by herself to eat the cookies.
Oh my gosh, how cute. What a sweetie.
I know.
Yeah, in our sisterhood meetings, we make all the kids show their faces when they come into the room.
Thank you.
Another great way to get to know people.
Yeah, that's true.
Beth, Merle, thank you.
Thank you so much for doing this with
This
us.
was so lovely. Really.
Yeah, thank you for the event.
This is
And
great.
Elise, making your last name the name of your people is brilliant.
Yeah, actually, I didn't want to use my real name, Buzura, as it's just because my whole family are still there. But I think that might be good just to have a Uyghur as a
In a
general
way,
name.
you made
last
it
name.
anonymous, but you made it universal and specific.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please let us know when it's published because I really, I'm serious. I know it would be great to read for, you know. In the
And we would definitely
whenever you
share
come.
it along, with the sisterhood. So if you have our email address, it's just the SOS Chicago@gmail. We'd love to hear about if you do any book signings or anything.
Yeah. Thank you.
Or promotions. We can post it on our sisterhood Facebook page and share it across all of sisterhood too. I mean, not just in the Chicago region.
Yeah.
Oh,
There'll be a lot of
okay.
interest.
Yeah,
Mhm. Yeah, there's just not enough children's books.
If you have separate chapters, what does one join? Is there?
Well, you reach out to us, and that's why we need your zip code so that we can connect you with either a
specific chapter
meeting, or if we have enough people, we create a new one, and that's why we have 10 chapters right now.
Oh, okay.
That's
Mhm.
They
Yeah, we have a
each-
couple of them that kind of cross over.
They
so-
each accept donations for themselves.
No, not for the chapters. That the voluntary dues goes right to the main sisterhood. We don't collect any money at all within
To the main sisterhood in New York.
Yes.
Yes.
So do they have a website?
They do. I put it in the chat. But if you want to look now, it's sosspeace.org.
Oh, I see it now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a beautiful website with great resources, a lot of articles of all of what's happening across the country and into Canada. And of course, welcoming our Berlin chapter just recently. And, we post links to news articles, and there's a lot of resources too.
Right, this is great.
Yeah.
Share it with my gynecologist.
Yes. Okay, that's an interesting person to share, sister.
I mean, we have this reading group,
Uh-huh.
It's the two of us.
Right. Yeah, it's a great website. It really is, and it describes the chapters even a little further, because there's some that are much more casual than others. Then there's others that really focus on social justice items. Our chapter got together and we were making the blessing bags, and we actually connected with DePaul University with their Muslim student life and their Jewish student life, so that the students would take the backpacks as they walked to class and hand them out to people who were on the streets, who needed shampoo and soap and socks and mittens and hand or sunscreen or whatever. water bottles, granola bars.
Our granddaughter is part of a Muslim Jewish group, it seems to me.
Oh, yeah?
Under the auspices, I can't think of what it's called now. Something like, or something.
Or something, or meaning light?
Light, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to find out. She's
Where
involved
is she?
so much.
Is she here in Chicago? Is she in school, in college? Is that maybe at the university?
She's just 17 and she's
Yeah.
her senior. She's in her senior year
Of high school. So, wow. Oh, I'd love to hear about that. When you find out, will you let us know?
I will.
Because we do have teen chapters.
Is it the Children of Abraham?
Yeah, that's a good, yeah, Children of Abraham is,
No,
No, it's not that.
that would
It's
be
not
a
just-
tricky one to remember. I have to find out.
yeah.
I think-
Children of Abraham is all three.
All three, but and they're
Right.
kids. I know they're
Right.
kids, so.
No, these are all teens.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that we had a couple of teenagers on our database here in the Chicago area, but I know that they've really struggled to, get them all to come because we're also spread out in the Chicago area. So some of them were, right over the Chicago border, some were further north or further west. So I know that we've struggled to get the teams together.
I have the feeling that this is again being sort of coordinated either through DePaul and JCUA.
Okay. Yeah.
Something like that. I'll get
yeah.
that information. I will get it to you. Thank you. Thank you for your interest. And
Absolutely.
great-
I actually
great
have a
presentation.
question. I wonder if it's possible to host an event just to raise more awareness on the Uyghur issue. I feel, first of all, more than 90% of the American population maybe still don't know who are Uyghurs, and let alone of how bad the situation is. But I do have connections with the founder of a campaign for Uyghurs, and their main goal is to raise awareness, let people know, and that's the first step of stopping a genocide. If people don't know and nobody gonna care, if nobody gonna care and nothing gonna change. So that's why I was wondering if
we would love to. We would love to. I mean, Kathie and I, obviously, we're planning these Chicago-wide events for Sisterhood, chapter members and community members. And I think I'd be one, and Kathie and I still have to talk about this, but I think you're absolutely correct. It'd be a great way for you to reach out and let us explain what's happening. And we would love to, can you type your email address? And then Kathie and I will get back to you. Or you can do ours too. Ours is right here.
Samira, who we should connect her with is Tracy at Silk Road Rising.
Yeah, that's her email, right? Sasha.
Yes.
You can do that. Email us and we'll email you, because we are doing a whole list of events for the year. And I think we would get so many people coming to that because the sister has had a statement about it too, right, Kathie?
Yes.
Cheryl's doing a lot against the Uyghurs, what's happening, awareness about what's happening. And this would be really great.
Yeah.
Do.
Thank you. That
Thank
would be
you.
nice.
We'll get back
So
to
your
you.
name is Layla. Is that your name?
My name is Buzura. Let me write it down.
Buzura. Okay, got it. Nope, I got your email. Got it.
Yeah, it is Buzura. Buzura is my first name, and then Aziz is my last name. So my
Got
email
it.
is Buzura, another A @gmail.com.
Got it. Okay, I'm gonna just drop you a blank email right this moment so that we have the connection. How's that?
Okay. Yeah, okay. That sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you, Buzura. No, definitely we will. I think I'm actually really excited about hearing more, and I think we'll get a lot of people listening. And if you could read a children's book at that meeting too,
hopefully.
that'd be really awesome. With the pictures, I think that'd be a great event.
Oh,
It would be
okay.
virtual. It would have to be
I
virtual.
have to figure out how to do with the children's book part.
Beth,
Since I'm using the pen name, so I don't know how to make the connection with myself and trying to avoid myself
Yes.
being
Yeah, no,
awkward.
that's fine.
but
But,
Beth,
Maybe
this
I'll
might
figure
be
out a
something
way.
we can do with SOSS.
What?
This might be something we can do with the sisters.
Yeah, that'd be awesome if you guys would like to do that with
Joint
us.
presentation from Elise on one of the Monday nights or something even.
Right.
Okay.
It's a whole area that, you know, it's so,
Yeah.
it's from a little corner of the planet.
Yes. Yeah.
But
I actually
the
follow
visual lives
somebody on
are
Twitter who,
affected.
yeah.
We'll do that, and we can all do that together. We can do a virtual
Yeah.
event.
I was
it'd
gonna
be so
say, I know
great
this,
to raise awareness.
Ah,
this is
oh,
yeah.
nice.
one of the newer books that just came out. And then there's this beautiful one called The Grand Mosque of Paris.
Yeah, I do that with my daughter.
Yeah, this is beautiful. I teach 4-year-old Sunday school, so I love to collect all of these.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, that's great.
So yeah, if you can do that with the books, or even if you don't want to read, you can read from the book if you want to. It'll just be for chapter members, or it'll just be for us women. But if you don't feel comfortable, that's fine too. But
Yes.
regardless,
Oh, no,
we'll let
actually
you know.
Speaking of the event, I can actually invite the founder from this nonprofit organization called the Campaign for Uyghurs, and she's a lady as well, and her main goal is to raise awareness, and she's public speaker. I can invite her. I will be joining the event myself too, but if just for raising awareness, I can have her. And if meanwhile, if my book is published, maybe I can also speak about it, or we could have a two events or together event with her.
That'd be great.
Our works, yeah.
I love that.
Usually I
Thank
don't
you.
talk publicly. She does openly, but I'm still scared about my family back home. If I speak up, if anything happens.
Yes, absolutely.
No, I
Absolutely.
totally understand. Totally understand. No,
Yeah,
absolutely.
and your
That's a great
story is
idea.
very important, right?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. No, we will definitely.
That sounds
Thank
great.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for joining us.
I'm going to stop the
Thank you so
recording,
much
but
for
thank you
hosting
all.
this event.
Yes.
Just wonderful.
All right.
I'll be following up. Okay. Good night. Thanks
Good
again.
night.
Thank you.
Laila Tov.
Bye.
Good night.